Welcome back to His and Hers Movie Podcast. This is episode number 27, featuring a review of a summer-themed horror film titled Aquatrash, or also known as Aquaslash, from the year 2020. I am one half of your podcasting duo, podcasting on this July 20th, 2020, out of the state of Pennsylvania. Brownsville to be more specific, or Laybell, I guess, southwestern Pennsylvania. Whatever, you guys know the deal. Joining me tonight is Carly, the other half of the podcasting duo, podcasting out of her house.
Yes, which is located in the Ville.
The Ville.
Yes. But anyway, how have you been?
I've been okay. It's been sort of a long week for me. I feel like, I think it's a little over 7 days since we recorded, probably. Mm-hmm. So that's why it feels a little bit longer. I had a pretty eventful day earlier in the week. I went and did some hunting for some Scream Factories that I didn't have that were located in Walmart. I found a copy of the Fly box set, which has the 3 original Fly films plus the remake, the Cronenberg remake, and the sequel to that remake. And I also grabbed a slipcover for Firestarter, which I stole from Walmart.
Hey, don't tell everybody that.
Yeah, well, I bought Firestarter from Walmart, and it didn't have a slipcover, and I went to another Walmart, and it had a slipcover, and I was like, you know what, I want that. And I took it. So, I don't know. I debated whether that was stealing or not. Because you can't buy the slipcover.
Yeah, so there's really no way to get it.
There's no barcode on it.
Yeah, because the barcode, there's like the hole where the barcode is on them, typically. Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know either.
But to be fair, I bought a crappy $5 movie and put the slipcover over it. So I bought a movie that I didn't want because I just wanted to be able to take the slipcover, so.
That's funny.
Yeah, I bought Geostorm. Which is like that movie that did I remember it because it did disastrous numbers at the box office. It was a really expensive movie and it did absolute garbage numbers. I don't remember what it was, but I remember when we did Box Office Brawl. That was one of the more surprising ones.
Yeah, well, that's cool. See, I did not realize that Fly box set had every Fly movie in it.
Really?
I thought it was just the original film, so that's actually pretty cool. I kind of want that now. Yeah,
it was $40. Very nice box set. I felt a little bad for buying it because I do own the Via Vision box set, which has all 5 films in it too. But this one's so much nicer, and it's I don't know. I like the cover, and it was just cooler box set.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have double dipped on it, honestly. But seeing it in Walmart just made me feel like I needed to buy it because it was the thrill of the hunt.
You may give it to me.
No.
Oh.
Also, I got some shirts. They had a Halloween shirt that I picked up, which was pretty cool. Picked up a Boys in the Hood shirt, a Notorious B.I.G. shirt, and a Chucky shirt that I'm probably not going to wear.
Yeah. I mean, when you see them at Walmart, though, it's you feel like you have to get them all.
Uh-huh.
But... And
also, huge news this week. The Friday the 13th box set was announced from Scream Factory. Mm-hmm. And that was under heavy speculation for the past couple months. People have said, the director of Jason Goes to Hell said that he did a new commentary for the movie, and people were speculating, okay, well, that means that somebody's releasing it, and it's doubtful that Paramount or whoever currently owned the rights were going to put that kind of effort in a new release. Usually they just repackage stuff and put it out. So speculation was that it was probably Arrow or Scream Factory, but Scream Factory had released a couple of Paramount titles over the past year or so. So people were speculating that it would be Scream Factory. They announced it, and they announced that they were selling 1,313 copies with the poster and the lithograph, and they like broke their website. Like, so many people were trying to get it that the site was down. It took me forever to be able to get a copy, but I did pre-order it. And then they announced that they were going to do 7,000 instead. And those have actually sold out. So pretty crazy. You can still get the set at other places for actually cheaper. But the fact that Scream Factory put out, you know, the edition with the poster. And honestly, I don't really care for the like, I don't need the posters. But like, I just felt like I needed to splurge on Friday the 13th. It's my favorite franchise. I absolutely love it. And I was looking, like, they've announced some of the features for it. So it's all 12 films. So the original Paramount 8, the 3 New Line Cinema films, and the remake. So, you know, you got everything in there. And the 3 New Line Cinema films, of course, are Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, and Freddy vs. Jason. Plus 2 bonus discs of bonus features, which have not even all been announced yet. I mean, there's so much stuff on there. There's on the original deluxe editions that came out from Paramount in like 2010, the DVDs, they had on part 4 they had a commentary with Adam Green and Joe Lynch, a fan commentary, which was a really good commentary. And they actually have a commentary on part 5 and I think 6, or another 2 of them that are included in this set, so that's really cool. Tons of new bonus features, new commentaries. I was a little bummed out to see that there wasn't really much for some of the later sequels, like the Friday the 13th remake has like no special features, new features, which, like, I understand that it's like nobody really cares about it that much, but I still think it would have been cool to hear a little bit on that 10 years later.
And you could have got people involved with that too, since they're not all dead or anything. It's like the most recent one, but...
And I remember when that original Blu-ray came out for Friday the 13th and the DVD, which I picked up when it came out for the 2009 film, that was like severely lacking with features too. Like, there really wasn't any features for it, so it kind of sucks that there's also nothing new when it was already pretty skim. But the interesting thing that somebody posted today is that the runtime of the entire box set, which is like 23 hours or something, I don't know, people are speculating that if you add up all the runtimes, it doesn't equal up. So for the longest time, one of the things that people have been wanting forever is some of the sequels, the later sequels, uncut, because there was a lot of gore footage cut out of them. And from what I had heard back when they did the deluxe editions, that footage had either burned in a fire or was tossed out throughout the years at the Paramount vaults. So a lot of speculation was that footage is just never going to be seen. But people are speculating that there may in fact be uncut versions of like part 2 and 7 that are also going to be included, which, if that is the case, this will be like the best box set ever, in my opinion. The one of the nicest box sets ever done was the Halloween box set from Scream Factory, which I do own. And it's crazy to think of how much has changed since the release of that box set, because that box set was limited to 300 copies from Scream Factory, like with the poster and stuff. And I remember it took a while for them to sell out, and now they sold out 7,000 with Friday the 13th. Now, I will say that Friday the 13th is, in my opinion, the better franchise. I think I want to say that people are probably more interested in it, but I think really what it comes down to is that Scream Factory has grown so much as a company that they're doing crazy numbers like that.
Yeah.
Which is insane, but I'm really hoping that there's some possibility of part 2 and 7 and whatever other ones are uncut, because there was a ton of stuff cut out of part 7. Of course, the director John Carl Buechler, R.I.P., was an effects artist, And in my opinion, Jason looks the absolute best in terms of like visual effects in part 7. Might not be the best Jason or people's favorite portrayal of Jason, but the pure effects work that they put on Jason with the like exposed, rib cage or spine and the, jaw and stuff like that is just really cool to look at.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I pre-ordered that. I'm pretty excited about it. I will let you watch mine.
I wanted it really bad, and I don't really throw out money on collector's stuff to begin with, let alone this, which is over $100 hairs. But I wanted it so bad, but I told myself I did not need it, because I do have the Paramount set, the Blu-rays, of course, that you gave me a few years ago. Thank you, buddy. And, I have the other ones, of course, on DVD, so I thought, why would I need this? But yeah. I felt it, just to put it on a shelf and be like, I have this, would be cool.
I know what you mean, but honestly, you don't really need it. You don't even really dig into special features anyway, so you already have the films.
Yes.
Really not a purpose. I mean, there's some new transfers and stuff, but like I said, you could always just borrow mine if you want to watch them.
Yes, and I will.
Yeah. So, that was kind of what happened this week. It was pretty exciting. Everybody was super jazzed about it, and it made me wonder if, like, they could do the Elm Street set, because if there's one, popular film series that hasn't really got much love, it is the Elm Street set. They did put out a Blu-ray set, New Line or Paramount or whoever owned it, Warner Brothers, I think it was Warner Brothers, put out a little box set of all the films on Blu-ray, but there really wasn't anything new special features wise, and the transfers were decent but nothing amazing. And you think about all the other film series like Texas Chainsaw, like there are some great editions of the first film. Of course, part 2 was put out by Scream Factory. Hell, part 4 was put out by Scream Factory with new features and stuff like that. Of course, Psycho, you have so many editions of the original Psycho with lots of features, as well as Psycho 2 and 3 and 4 were put out by Scream Factory. Hell, the remake was put out by Scream Factory. And the Halloween set, of course. So really, Elm Street is the one that's, even Jason, the Friday the 13th films have had decent editions. Like the original deluxe editions were very good for their time. There was a lot of new features and stuff put on those editions. So I think that the Elm Street films are, severely mishandled and not shown the proper love to. So I would love to see that, but who knows if that'll ever happen.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I never thought about that. There's literally no special editions of any of the Elm Street films. And yeah. I feel like Freddy is like more known than anything. Like that's who everyone kind of talks about. So that is strange.
Yeah. But I for a while they're the same. Like I think it's a little problematic because I think that originally like Paramount owned the 8 films, and then they sold them to Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers owned New Line. So you had all 12 films under the same umbrella as the Elm Street films. But I think I want to say that the rights reverted back to Paramount, but at the same time, I think that New Line still owned, the original 3, which would have been Warner Brothers, or the New Line 3. So if they were able to strike a deal with Warner Brothers and Paramount to put out this set, then you would think they could do it for the Elm Street films too. Whenever you talk rights, it always gets really confusing. But also really exciting, Vestron Video Collector's Series is now back, and their 2 newest films is Shivers from David Cronenberg, as well as Little Monsters, which is a pretty... have you ever seen Little Monsters?
No, I have not.
It has Fred Savage in it. It's like kind of a kid's movie, but it's pretty fun. I've always liked it when I was a kid. It's about like this world of monsters that lives under Fred Savage's bed, and I haven't seen it in a long time, but he goes to this world and stuff. Pretty cool. But that film has always people have always wanted that on Blu-ray because it just hadn't had I don't even know if it. I think it had an original DVD release, which is like heavily out of print, but I think that it was even hard to get on DVD, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, pretty cool. And of course, Vestron has like a ton of films in their vault because it's Lionsgate that have just never been properly released, and that's why I was really happy with the Vestron Collector Series when it was out, because they were putting out, like, they put out a great edition of Maximum Overdrive, really good edition of Return of the Living Dead 3. The Warlock films got nice treatment, Waxwork, hell, The Gate, but The Gate has had good editions before too. The Wishmaster films all came out from them, so yeah, I've been a big fan of the titles that they've released, so very excited that they're back as well.
Yes, I don't own any of their moves.
Yeah, they were very expensive. They were like $30 sometimes. I mostly got them all for $20 or under because they go on sale every once in a while. But the most I paid was $25 for Maximum Overdrive because it was in Walmart. But yeah, what have you done this week?
This past weekend, of course, you and I went to the drive-in on Sat.
Yeah,
yes.
It was hot as hell in there.
It was kind of horrible, honestly. We need to, because we misplaced our chairs, I guess, and
it would have been just as hot outside.
I just feel, I don't know, I get very claustrophobic in cars sometimes, like my legs are long and I just start like freaking out sometimes, so it kind of sucked, but you know, it was The Lost Boys and The Evil Dead, so it was a cool double feature at least.
Well, we'll talk about that a little later.
Yes, so there was that, and then, you know, we hung out, we went to CD Warehouse and Cash and Culture, which are two, you know, of course, the two used DVD and like retro-y stores that we have around here. Hadn't been there in a while. And I got a few movies at CD Warehouse. So that was cool. I always enjoy
VHS.
Yeah, got Goosebumps. Got 2 of the Goosebump VHS tapes, so now I'm up to 3 of those, which is pretty nifty. I just enjoy displaying those. Got a few things on DVD. I got Absentia, Last Shift, Ringu 2, and the Washingtonians. Another one of the Masters of Horror that I do not own, because somehow I do not own the entire line yet, even though I've been buying them for like 20 years, it seems like. But, so I got those there, and that was fun. And then on Sunday, I hung out with good old Austin, aka Austin Schroyer, and he showed me Batman Begins as well as The Dark Knights, because I've never seen those before. And
I was actually going to give you The Dark Knight for Blind Spot, but I went with Batman Returns instead.
Yeah, I mean, I liked, you know, I'll talk about them, I guess, when I do my what I watched, but I liked them both. They were pretty good movies. You know, I really don't mind superhero movies, honestly, but I'm not I just don't like the, like, Avengers, when they mix them all together, and it's all, like, I don't know what's going on, because I didn't follow any of the other storylines. That's where I get, like, annoyed, because I'm not a diehard superhero person. Batman
will always be my favorite. Like, to me, there's superhero movies, and then there's Batman movies. I love the Batman movies. Like, I even like Batman and Robin and Batman Forever for what they are. They're not great, but I do like them. But The Dark Knight was amazing. Like, to me, I think that Joker is really good. But The Dark Knight for me is probably still my favorite. But the Joker is really good. But I also like the Gotham TV series. I never finished it. I think I made it to like season 3 or whatever, and I really like that as well. I think because Batman is dark, it really makes you like him, like, you know, for a horror fan a little bit more. Obviously Joker was very dark, But even like there's been so many great Jokers. Like Jack Nicholson in the original is great, and then Heath Ledger is amazing, and then what the hell's his name?
Joaquin
Phoenix.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember if that was him or not. Obviously he was fantastic, and they're all different performances too, which is cool. But Batman has the best villains. That's what's cool about Batman, is the villains kick major ass. Like really, really cool villains.
Yeah, the one Batman Returns, like which one is that?
That is Tim Burton's Batman. Well, it's a sequel to Tim Burton's Batman. So the original Batman, there was another Batman movie in the 60s, I think.
Yeah, there was.
With Adam West. And it's like cheesy and goofy. It's like more lighthearted. But then they did the Batman film with Jack Nicholson as the Joker and Michael Keaton as Batman in the first Batman, and then the sequel is Batman Returns, and that one has the Penguin and Catwoman.
Okay, yeah, because I have seen the Batman with Jack Nicholson and Michael Keaton when I was a little kid. That's like the only one that I had seen all the way through.
Yeah, and then Batman Forever is the Riddler and Two-Face, and then Batman and Robin is Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy, I believe. Unless I have them backwards.
Well, yeah, I was telling Austin that when I was in high school... No, it was... I forget what... it was probably like one of the summer times in high school. My friend JR invited me over. It was me, him, and our other friend John, and we were bored, and they were like, hey, let's put on Batman and Robin, but they were like, let's just put it on mute and do our own commentary over it. And I had never actually seen the movie, so I just sat back, and they just muted this movie and did really stupid commentary over the entire movie. So I said, like, I technically watched all of that movie, but not with any of the dialogue.
That's funny.
It looked like it didn't look like a good movie to me.
Yeah, they kind of ruined those two Batmans. They made them way more like goofy.
Yeah, I could tell. Yeah.
But I still kind of like them. Jim Carrey actually plays the Riddler in Batman Forever, which is funny. He's very Jim Carrey-y.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the Batman character as well as some of the villains. I've actually never seen Batman Begins.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the only one I haven't seen. I've even seen the 60s one once. But the Batman Begins, I've actually never seen that one. That's the Scarecrow one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But the Dark Knight Rises is pretty good, too. It's not as good as the Dark Knight, but it is good. And I believe that actually the Joker was supposed to be part of it, but of course Heath Ledger passed away, R.I.P. So they kind of nixed his character, and it's focused on Bane, who I never really cared for as a villain too much, but he is pretty cool in The Dark Knight Rises, and they actually shot some of that in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I was saying, like, which is kind of weird. Pittsburgh, it's nothing like, the New York setting, but...
Well, actually, Batman is not set in New York.
I know, it's not, but it's like, the town, like, it's supposed to look... It's
right.
New York, basically.
It's a fictional place.
Gotham. Yeah, like Gotham, but it looks just like...
Yeah, it reminds you of, like, in New York or something.
Yeah, but I just, like, we were just saying, Austin and I, how Pittsburgh's, like, so tiny compared to any of those, but... I remember when they
It is if you look from the outside, but when you're inside it doesn't look tiny, so it kind of still fits the city landscape.
I suppose. But what I was saying was, I recall when they were looking for extras for that film, because that movie's from, like, 2000.
Yeah, like 90, everybody and their mother went to try to be an extra in
I know. Movie. I remember being in school and people were like, oh, they, like, skipped school to go try to be an extra in the new Batman movie, and it was... crazy. But
well, you got to figure too that at the time when they were making The Dark Knight Rises, I think The Dark Knight was like the biggest movie ever, or something. It was like,
Yeah.
you know, it was up there with Avatar or something, like the highest selling like comic book movie or something like that at the time. Like it did major numbers. I remember when it came out, everybody was going to see it. But yeah, very, very good movies. I'm sure you'll talk a little bit more about them. Also, I forgot to mention, but I went and bought wood for a new shelf because I'm just like up to my elbows in movies that are not shelved. Like my collection is an absolute disaster right now. Like it's all out of order. Like I was looking for a movie the other day, which I ended up not even owning. I thought I owned it, but I didn't. It was Trick or Treat. The Scream Factory version. I do own the original Blu-ray from Lionsgate or whoever put it out, Universal or whatever, but I thought I owned the Trick or Treat Scream Factory, but I didn't. And I was like searching everywhere for it, but the reason I'm searching for it anyway is because my collection's all out of order. Like anything I've got over the past like 2 years is all over the place. It's not in alphabetical order. It's not in any order. Like I have a huge section, like I bought a little shelf from Goodwill one day that I have out in the hallway, and it literally has like a couple hundred probably Blu-rays on it, and they're like not in any type of order. And then I have another bunch of Blu-rays and DVDs under where I'm recording right now, like on the bottom shelf, and they're all out of order. And I'm just like, what? I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I bought some wood, and I'm gonna build some shelves in the hallway. But I really got screwed up because I went to buy the wood at Lowe's, and I asked if they could cut it for me, and it took forever because there were so many people there. Finally, they cut it, and I told the guy I need 2 6.5 foot 2x4s and then 1 5.5 foot. And he gave me 2 6 foots and 1 5.5 foot. So they're actually not big enough to do the full shelves. But I can. What I decided is I'm going to just screw it, and then at the top, on the top, I'll just put box sets or something. I'll miss a full shelf, but I'll still be able to put some box sets up there.
Yes, that would bother me deeply to have my collection all out of sorts like that.
Dude, it's just a mess right now. But the reason is because I have no space. They're just stacked on top of each other, and I have no more shelves. So it's just a mess. It's horrible. And also, my whole plan of watching more than I buy completely failed.
Oh, I know, and I knew it would.
I'm definitely gonna hit my mark of 100. I probably can even hit 150 because I think I'm in like the 70s right now, halfway through the year. So that's that. Another thing that's going on right now is pretty much every movie that was supposed to come out this year has got pushed back to next year. Like it's like they haven't pushed Candyman completely to next year, but I guarantee it's coming. They just pushed The Conjuring 3 to next year. It's like really crappy for new movies. Like this year's top 10 lists are going to be garbage.
Yeah, I don't even really feel like making one. I mean, it's like there's movies I like. I liked a good amount of the movies we reviewed on this show, I feel, this year, but I just feel like it's half-hearted, almost like, okay, this is what I'm left with, this is what I'll have to settle with type of thing, when there should have been so many more, so it kind of sucks.
One of the reasons we started this show this year was to, because we figured we'd watch, pretty much one new movie a week for this show, and that would be around 50, give or take. I know we did one episode without reviewing a movie, give or take, 50 or so episodes.
Yes.
And but it's like we're struggling to find movies to watch for this. In fact, we picked this one because we couldn't find anything besides we were considering Relic, but I decided against it because I heard that it deals with dementia, and that's something that I'm personally dealing with now. Not for me, obviously, but like a family member, and it's a little just too close to home for me. I didn't want to be all depressed. So we decided to kind of put that one on the back burner. You still watched it, and you
I'll talk about it.
But that's why we did. If anybody's wondering, like, why would you do this and not that movie when it's getting popular reviews? Well, it's because of that. But yeah, just even finding movies for this is a pain. And like, it wouldn't be as bad if we opened up to streaming, because there have been a lot of drops on Shudder and even, you know, some other places. But it's like it's like that's kind of Netflix and chill. And then people have said, why don't you just combine the two shows? And it's like, I don't know. It's like, I like Netflix and chill for like I like it as a streaming thing, you know. I wish we could do it more regularly, honestly. If we had unlimited time, and if I wasn't working these crazy shifts, we would do one of each episode a week. Especially when we're not doing 22 shots.
And to me, it's like, if we combined it, it would, obviously this year we don't have theaters or new movies, so obviously we're struggling, but in years when we do have theaters and new movies coming out all the time, it would be too much. It would be overwhelming if
when we first started
to get every movie.
We watched, there was a new like movie in the theater like almost every single week.
Yeah.
So we really had tons of stuff to watch. So yeah, maybe if things don't ever change, maybe we could do that or whatever. But I would like to put out more Netflix and chill episodes, but you know, it's just time, basically. It's not even time for watching stuff, it's time for recording, because I work horrible shifts now, compared to yours. Like, I like them, but it really does put a damper on being able to do things, because I get off of work like an hour after you went to bed, pretty much.
Yeah, it definitely sucks. And you would think, oh, it's easy to record 2 shows a week, but it would not be.
Right. Like we struggle to find time to do this, like, some weeks. But yeah, so that is what I did this week. I don't know when I'm gonna put that shelf up. I got the wood for it, but usually my pap helps me with that. I could do it by myself, but he's a little weird with me drilling holes in the walls and stuff without him. So yeah,
he thinks you're incapable.
Yeah, which I'm not. I totally could do it. But yeah, so anything else?
Not really. I mean, I did stop at Dollar Tree again with my dad. He let me in the back room again to kind of look at the movies before they were supposed to be put out sometime this week. And there really wasn't much good. They pretty much had a bunch of crappy, like, multi-packs of, like, you know, 30 spooky paranormal movies that'll keep you up at night, but really they're all low budget and horrible. That's kind of like the theme that they had going on there. And I assume all the other Dollar Trees will probably be getting those types of movies as well. But, you know, I picked up a few things. They had Jeepers Creepers on DVD. I just grabbed it because I only had it on VHS. And then, what else? I got Mad Max. They had the other Exorcist prequel, so I got that.
Is it Mad Max, like, the original?
Yes.
That's the worst one.
Oh.
In my opinion.
Well, I've never seen any of them, so... I mean...
I guess you might as well start with the first.
Yeah, that's my way of thinking. But I just grabbed it for the heck of it, but... Then they had... I grabbed, like, 2 of those multi-packs just for the, you know, why not? It's $1, I couldn't help myself, and then... got some movie called Look Away, which someone actually commented telling me that's actually a pretty decent overlooked film, and I was surprised because I'd never heard of it, so hopefully they were correct. And I think I also got that Holidays movie that was on Netflix, which I know was not a great movie at all, but...
I liked it. It wasn't good. I give it like a 6 or something,
yeah.
But I liked it. It was a cool little concept. I think Kevin Smith has a segment in there too.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to recheck it out, but... So I just grabbed those. I mean, I can't help myself. If it's $1, like, I cannot help it. And, you know, my dad's going out of his way to take me in the back, and so I'm like, why the heck not? So, but that's kind of the extent, I think, of what I've done recently.
Yeah, I also got my package for the 4 for $44 Warner Brothers sale as well. Mystery at the Wax Museum, Innocent Blood, The Hunger, and 2 on a Guillotine. So, you know, I really love that sale, and I probably only need like 6 or 7, maybe 8 of their horror titles to have everything. Which, like, I remember when they were coming out and they started putting those things on Blu-ray, I was like real bummed because they were so expensive. Like, even like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, which was one of the first ones that I really wanted, was like $25 or something for a bare bones Blu-ray, and now they're definitely more affordable with the 4 for 44 sale, which I think they did that 4 for 44 sale forever, but it was mainly for their DVD titles. So yeah, I've pretty much used that sale so many times since pretty much every time they have it, I at least do 1 order, sometimes 2. And yeah, I love their titles because they're, you know, ones that are harder to find.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously you and I go in on that sometimes, but I feel like I'm kind of almost good on what I've gotten from them because I'm not too interested in like those Dracula films or some of those older ones. I just don't really. I kind of got everything I want, I feel, from those guys, but I think I have like 6 of them. So that's
there's a couple more that you'd probably be interested in. Bad Ronald.
I have that.
Maybe like Don't Be Afraid of the Dark.
Oh yeah, I haven't got that one.
Yeah, that's a TV movie from the 70s. The TV movies are the best. Those are the funnest ones. But I also really like the old, like the Black Scorpion and stuff, like the old monster movies from like the 50s and 60s. But yeah, I pretty exciting to have that little package come in. And yeah, so is that it?
That is it.
All right, so maybe we should get into what we watched.
Maybe we shall. Who do you want to go first?
You can go first.
All right. I watched kind of a good bit of stuff since
That's
the
why
last
I'm letting
time.
you go first.
I see. Okay. Well, first up, I didn't talk about this last time because I hadn't watched it last time, I don't believe, and that was The Creature Walks Among Us, and that is obviously the 3rd movie of the Creature from the Black Lagoon series, trilogy.
Do you have a confession to make?
Oh, yeah, I have to delete my channel. This is the movie. JP, in the last episode, he was saying how the creature looks really stupid in part 2, and I was like, yeah, he does. And then in the back of my head, I'm kind of thinking, he really didn't look like that different, I don't think. Maybe a little bit worse. But you were saying that, and then you're like, oh no, it was probably part 3. And I was like, oh no, he looked like that in part 2. Well, I lied. It is actually part 3 where he looks different, because part 3 is where he goes through a transformation to become an Earthlang, or a land lang.
Did you like that movie?
I actually did.
Oh man, I don't like those sequels. The first one I really like a lot. I don't know. It could be in Universal Monsters fatigue.
Yeah,
because I did watch that like so many of them in a 30-day period, give or take some change. But yeah, you liked it.
It's not good. Like, it's obviously it's kind of like how it's like it would be like the Jason X of this movie series, obviously, where they're trying to do something kind of ridiculous and obscure. Part 2, I don't mind either. Like, it's obviously a step down, but part 3, definitely the most step down. But I was kind of just interested in what they were doing, and I actually thought, you know, the creature looks weird and all, but I found him to be really creepy when they made him almost human-like, but not really. I thought it was really creepy, and then just seeing him walk around in like a suit and human clothes, something about that was kind of unnerving to me. So that's what I liked about it. And that one's, I think, the shortest one. It's only like a little bit over an hour, not, you know, less than an hour and 20 minutes or so. So I didn't mind it. It wasn't too bad. But after that, I watched Basket Case 3, which, as per my run-through, 91. You lent me that one on Blu-ray. I never really believed you, because I saw Basket Case for the first time in the drive-in with you, and I really loved it. And you kept telling me how the sequels were goofy, and they didn't take themselves seriously, and you didn't care for them too much. And I always thought you were exaggerating, and they were probably just a little bit more off the wall, but now I see that this is just kind of a pure comedy and loses all the atmosphere really, and any amount of scary or seriousness that the first one has.
It was funny because when you said Dwayne, that the guy who plays Dwayne this time sucks, and I was like, it's the same guy.
Yeah, that pretty much says it all.
You're like, what? And I was like, yeah. You're like, he doesn't even look the same. I'm like, well, it is, you know, you figure 10 years later. And they shot Basket Case 2 and 3 back to back. The first one, the first sequel, Basket Case 2, is pretty much the same as 3. Like, it follows Dwayne and Belial Dwayne being busted out or released from a mental hospital that he spent time in after the first film. And that woman who runs like the freak show, you know, picks him up and Belial up, and it's pretty much that. And at the end of part 2, though, he goes crazy and attaches Belial to him. So he sews Belial to him. But then they kind of drop that in part 3.
They showed that in part 3. So is that like a reiteration of part 2? Because, I don't know. It was obvious that part 3 was like a direct sequel to part 2, but I was just...
Oh, wait, does that happen at the end of part 2? Part 3?
At the beginning of part 3,
yeah,
I'm
so they're
sure.
probably just going over what happened in part 2 then.
Yeah, that's what I was getting from that. So obviously I didn't watch part 2 because with these 91 movies there's so many sequels and I'm just too lazy to watch. I just keep hoping that there's no continuity. But
yeah, like you're not going to go watch 5 Howling films before you watch part 6.
No.
And you're not going to watch 3 Prom Nights before part 4.
And you figure
I've done it a little bit, and it's too hard. Like, it annoys me when it's ones, like, I don't know. When I log them on my letterbox, it bothers me. But I'm just OCD like that.
Yeah, it's, to me, if it was like Halloween where it was continuing into the next night, then yeah, I would feel like I had to definitely go back and watch Halloween part 1, but most of these sequels are just kind of there, like they're the 4th or 5th sequel, so they're not going to be continuous anyway. So, but yeah, Basket Case 3, I honestly didn't care for it too much. It wasn't horrible. It's goofy fun, but compared to the first one, it's nothing at all like that. Then after that, as per my run through 91, I watched Trancers 2 on Tubi.
Did you watch Trancers 1?
I did not.
See, that's kind of one where I'd maybe watch the first one.
Yeah, I could definitely... That was pretty obvious evidence watching this. And honestly, I thought this was going to be one that I would put on and completely lose interest in right away and then end up not even counting it as a watch because I didn't pay attention to it. But I actually was super into this movie, and it made me wish I watched part 1 because they keep doing references that are clearly have to do with part 1. But I was entertained by this, you know? I thought it was a solid, fun, interesting type of movie, interesting plot.
Yeah, I enjoyed both of them. I was half tempted to watch the third one just because I liked them so much.
Aren't there like 6 of them?
Yeah, but I hear the first 3 are the good ones and then the rest suck. But I think, like, based on, because you watched that and you watched Pit and the Pendulum with me a while back, Puppet Master 3, did you get to yet?
Yeah, I watched that last.
Yeah.
I think I reviewed that last show.
Early Full Moon is pretty good, huh?
Yeah, they're not bad. They all definitely have that same exact feel to them, but they're movies. They are movies, and they are pretty entertaining. Like Pin the Pendulum, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I thought it was great. That might be a top 10er for me.
Yeah, I mean, Puppet Master 3, obviously, probably the best of the Puppet Masters.
It's the best besides that, like, reboot that another company did. But in terms of Full Moon, definitely.
Yeah. But, yeah, Trancers 2, I dug it. It made me, like I said, want to check out the sequels and watch the first one. And then after that, I watched Madman from 1981. I did this. We're going to be doing this on Movie versus Movie. This and The Burning coming up on Wednesday this week. We're supposed to record that. So watch Madman. I'm not going to lie. I love Madman. The first time I saw this was also at the drive-in with you, my buddy, and I was super enthralled by it. I think it's because the setting was perfect to watch it late at night, and I just think this movie's creepy. I think it's a very creepy slasher film, and it has a song, and it's got that blue hue to it, and, you know, the characters aren't the best. That's probably its main downfall, is they're kind of like these bland, they all look like they're in their 30s or something. They don't even look like young kids or anything like that, but But besides that, I mean, the Madman killer I think is very intimidating and spooky, and I just really enjoy this movie. It's one I tend to throw on every summer now, and really, really dig it. So that was that.
That was one that for years, like, it wasn't even on DVD.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, like, that was a title, like, I used to follow, like, back in the glory days of YouTube, like, people always used to make videos like top 10 movies that need DVDs, and then like everybody would do video responses. This was Blu-ray wasn't even considered really. And Madman was like one that you saw pop up a lot because it was like, you know, a slasher film, 80s, kind of a cool killer, and it just did not have a release.
Now it's on Vinegar Syndrome and Arrow, I believe, which is cool. I have the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray, so
do I. That was one of their early ones. In terms of horror.
That's one of the first Vinegar Syndrome. I took advantage. And I picked up Madman, Graduation Day, and Christmas Evil all on that sale, so it was one of the first ones I got.
Those were some early ones. It's in a blue case, not a clear one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that their first horror one was, I want to say it was Christmas Evil. That
really?
Madman. Yeah, but like that. Those were like one of the first like 5 horror releases from them.
Cool.
On Blu-ray. They've released some other stuff on DVD.
I mean, they are both solid movies, so. After that, I watched Z, which is a 2020 movie on Shudder that I saw a bunch of people talking about, and I hadn't really been on Shudder or Netflix or anything like that in recent time. I've literally watched nothing besides this movie, I don't think, on streaming that's been new, so decided I would check this out. I saw like Dave Z talk about it, and then I saw a few other people posting reviews of it. Some people saying it was decent, and others saying it was like really good. But and I will say, while I was watching this, my mom actually stopped over because she was going to another job and she just needed to chill for a second, so she did come over and she was kind of watching it with me, and she was like getting into it, but kind of interfered a little bit with my full attention to it. But overall, I thought it was a decent movie. If I am correct, I might not be. I heard people say this, but I think it's the same people who made Stillborn, which is a really creepy movie from last year, maybe 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, that made your top 10.
Yeah, it was like up there in my top 10 because I thought it was really creepy and reminded me of Insidious kind of in a way with its spook factor. But this movie was creepy too, and it had some pretty good jump scares, and some of it actually reminded me a little bit of The Babadook in a way. It was just one of those cool movies where, you know, classic kid has imaginary friend, and turns out the imaginary friend might be real or sinister type of plot line. I dug it. I thought it was decent. It wasn't as scary as I was hoping it would be, though, and I didn't love how the story went, but it was alright. I would recommend checking it out for sure for some people, but so that was and then after that, I watched The Burning, of course, again for movie versus movie. The Burning, you know, won't say much on that. I'd only seen this one a few times. This one feels like, out of anything that like follows Friday the 13th, this one feels the most Friday the 13th-esque as far as like summer slashers or just slashers in general go. I've never really loved this movie, and I don't know what it is exactly, but it is a good slasher, and it does have good gory kills, but there's something about it that I'm always kind of like, I don't know, this isn't one that I really go back to a whole lot, but it is good, so it's a weird movie where I can't really put my finger on it. But that is The Burning. Then after that, I watched Lost in Translation. I did this for Celluloid Dissections, which we recorded the other day, and that should be out soon. This is a like drama comedy, good mixture of both, starring Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson from 2003. Derek picked this one because he's actually a big Bill Murray fan, and he said this is one of his favorite movies of all time, actually. And I liked it. I'll just say that again, you know, I'll have that review will be out soon, but I dug it. I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't like over the top goofy or comedy like I was kind of thinking it would be, and you know, I don't really like Bill Murray too much, so, but it's more of a serious role for him, and it's one of those ones where it's more drama romance with comedy tapered in. So, and it's got some really good underlying stories and stuff about like isolation and seclusion going on for it that I really dug. So after that, I watched, as per my run through 91, Fear in the Dark. This is a documentary that I found from 1991 that I just kind of threw on one night when it was like late at night and I was too tired to really watch a movie, so I just kind of put this on. And it was actually pretty good. It was kind of just the basic standard horror documentary where it starts from the beginning times of, like, you know, Nosferatu, and they're kind of talking about that, and then like Psycho, and going on to the slashers, and then up to obviously the 90s. And they have a good amount of people talking on there. They have John Carpenter, Wes Craven, Dario Argento, what's his name, Robert Bloch, the guy who wrote the Psycho books. They have a good, decent amount of different people putting their 2 cents in on just what makes you scared, why people love horror. So, you know, I wouldn't say it's anything too special. It's nothing I haven't seen before. All the movies they're talking about are movies everyone knows about, but it was a cool one to just kind of throw on and enjoy. I never mind watching stuff like that. So
what was it?
It was called Fear in the Dark.
Hmm.
Yeah, I found it. It was actually on YouTube.
That was a 91?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the one Jeremy was talking about?
I think it might have been. Yeah, I could have sworn one of them was like talking about that in the chat, and that's kind of why I was looking for a documentary, and this is what popped up, so I think that's the one. But it was decent quality too. But after that is when I watched Relic, obviously 2020, and Relic is about this family. There's this grandmother, her daughter and her granddaughter get a call saying that, you know, their grandmother has gone missing, and so the, you know, daughter and granddaughter, they go out to her kind of secluded house in this wooded area, and they're trying to look for her for a few days, and then finally the grandma comes back, but there's something weird about her, and she's not really saying where she's been or giving much detail, but other than that, she seems normal. She's, you know, offering them tea and making dinner and stuff like that, so they're kind of suspicious and leery to leave her alone, and they're trying to just figure out where to go from here and, you know, see what's up with her. This was getting pretty good reviews, so I was excited to check it out, and rightfully so. I thought it was really good, really creepy. Gives me kind of vibes of The Visit, where you just have like an older person acting weird, especially late at night, is when, you know, in The Visit, that grandma kind of has like the sundowner syndrome, and she's doing all this weird shit late at night, and they're like, what the heck? And then in the morning, she's seemingly back to normal. You kind of have the same type of deal going on in this movie. It's a very atmospheric and dark type of film too. Just kind of was getting under my skin quite a bit. It's also rather sad, so, you know, I could see why JP, I kind of even said, like, yeah, you probably shouldn't watch this movie, because it does very much coincide with, like, dementia and just older people kind of becoming a little bit out of it as they get older. But it does have, it's not all about that. Like, at the end, there's kind of, like, this weird thing that occurs, and that's honestly where it kind of went down a little bit for me. I'm not sure that I dug what happens at the end and how it all plays out in the third act. It kind of lost me, kind of for some reason lost like the scary factor to it. Maybe it's because it became a little less realistic, I don't really know, but overall though, I thought it was good. It was, you know, worth talking about, and I could see it being up there for some people on their list at the end of the year, depending on how the year is going. Then after that, I watched a 91 movie called, as per my run through 91, a 91 movie called Graveyard Story. Yeah, this was listed as like straight up horror on IMDb, but it was more so pretty much completely a mystery film about some dude who like has these envisions this like little girl who he's like at her grave, and she like went missing, or there's like a mystery behind her, and he hires like a private investigator to find out what happened to this girl, why she's like in this she was like in an unmarked grave, and just find out what the heck is going on with it. This movie like bored me almost to actual tears, and almost to sleep. I was just really bored by it, and the acting in it I thought was bad. It has like a lot of decent reviews online, surprisingly, but I just wasn't into this, and it honestly was not horror, so it was rather deceiving, but you know, whatever. I was just trying to look for something I hadn't seen. Then after that, after that is when I watched Evil Dead and Lost Boys, which we will talk about, and Detroit Rock City, which I guess we can also talk about together, because we watched those all on the same night, technically.
Yep.
And then after that, that's when I watched Batman Begins and The Dark Knight with Austin. Two, Batman films. I wasn't sure if I was going to like them, but, I went in kind of open-minded, because I'd always heard really good things about both of these films, and they're both very long films. They're over 2 hours long, but they do jot by decently. There's always something going on. There's always like some action or just something to move the plot along with these types of movies, which I appreciate, because it makes it so they don't feel super long. They're not dragging on. You're not really bored at times. Batman Begins I thought was great. You got Christian Bale as Batman, and it's more so just like the origin story of him.
Isn't it weird that he played American Psycho guy?
Yeah, I was saying that because like there's actually scenes in both this one and The Dark Knight where he's kind of has to like dress up all like proper and in a suit and go to dinner parties, and he looks exactly like he did in American Psycho except with black hair. So yeah, he just shows he's a really good actor, because he nails the role as Batman. And like I said, this is more of just him kind of becoming Batman, and then you get flashbacks at the beginning of him as a little kid, and everyone knows the story of Batman and the tragedy with his parents and all that type of stuff. So yeah, Batman Begins, I thought it was really, really good. Superhero movies, like I said, they're not my favorite, so I wouldn't like rush back to watch this anytime soon, but I would definitely watch it again, because I think I could see why people consider it, one of the best superhero movies out there. Then coupled by good old Dark Knight, it's crazy. This one, it's really not focused on Batman at all for the most part. This is very much like the Joker's story throughout this film, and just how he's kind of causing chaos, and he's like causing harm to people, and he wants Batman to come forward. And you're not seeing nearly as much as Batman, but I like that. It's crazy to think of this as even a sequel to Batman Begins, because it's just a completely different storyline, and I think that was smart of them to make two very differently toned movies, because Dark Knight is a lot darker, and Heath Ledger is fantastic as the Joker. It's a shame that he passed away, especially the way he did, but he's great. All the performances are really good in this movie. All the action-y sequences and the quotes from the Joker are iconic. Very, very good film. Again, that one, jets along very nicely, and I appreciate how it's more dark in nature. It's hard to even say which one, because I thought for sure I would like The Dark Knight better than Batman Begins, but they're actually both really solid in their own respects. They're very different in tone and very different in storyline, so it's kind of hard to even compare them, but I'd probably give Dark Knight like half a point higher than Batman Begins. And then finally...
hold on.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, but you don't yell at me.
What did you rate The Dark Knight?
I think I gave that a 9, and Batman Begins I gave an 8.5.
Yeah, to me, Dark Knight is one of the best. I think it's one of the best movies out there. Like, in terms of like the 10,000 best movies or something, on like the grand scale of all movies. Mm-hmm. Heath Ledger won an Academy Award for his best supporting actor, which is amazing.
Then I think he passed away before he even got it.
Did he? That's sad.
I know.
That damn performance was so good, man. Like, just the way he plays, like the thing about the Joker that's so fascinating to me is just how mysterious he is, and how like he really is like he's just the counter to Batman. I don't know, like some of the, like even the way that he talks about like, you know, I got these scars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he tells like two different stories. Well, you don't know because he's just doing it to say stuff. Like what is his motive in that movie?
He's just whack.
Right. Like he steals all that money and burns it. He's
a joker. That's
and like
what he is.
I like when they're like, you think you could just come in here and rip us off? And he's like, yes.
I said it's weird. He almost reminds me of like Beetlejuice with some of his mannerisms after watching that movie.
Yeah.
Like some of the way he like delivers lines.
Yeah. I like when he does the magic pencil trick.
Yeah. I think you showed me that scene before and I remembered it. And he just does everything so like, yeah, here, see, and then he like he'll like kill somebody and then just go on talking. Yeah.
And even like one character that I didn't even know was in the movie because I don't think he was in any of the trailers was Two-Face. Because you always hear about the Joker, but Two-Face was a really fun the way that played out too.
And it's really creepy. The makeup effects on his face are super like disturbing.
Yeah, and it's messed up how like that whole thing played out too. With Batman and the girl and Two-Face and stuff, and how he like the cool thing about Batman is like all of the villains except for the Joker, and there have been Joker origin stories and stuff too, there's different versions, but like all of the villains have a reason for them becoming supervillains, you know what I mean? Like with Two-Face, he was like, you know, against crime and stuff, and he lost like a love, and it really messed him up. And you know, I don't know what they did with Scarecrow, but I believe his father was like a douchebag in the comics or something. I don't know if they do that in the movie.
I forget what his thing was.
Yeah,
that made him that way.
Continue.
But the last one was I actually rewatched The Silence of the Lambs for 91, which I need to get an updated version of this because I only own it on VHS, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I can't help you with that. I thought for a second that I had a DVD copy, but I don't. I only have the Blu-ray.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of dumb to have a movie like this only on VHS.
Right,
but...
that's a movie that you want on pristine edition. Like if there was a 4K, I would get the 4K. Even though I get the 4K for like everything anyway, but like that is a movie. It's like like there's certain movies you don't really want to watch on VHS. That's probably one of them.
Yeah, because it definitely hinders the quality. I don't even remember the last time I watched this on not like shit quality. Like I feel like I'm always watching it on VHS, and any other time it's been just like on TV, which was years ago. But I mean, Silence of the Lambs, you know, what can you really say about that? It's a great movie, great dark movie. I love the character of Clarice. This is one I grew up like it would be on TV and I would see bits and pieces, and I remember like my mom, it was kind of one of those ones she actually didn't really want me to watch because she thought it was a little disturbing at times. And I always remember that part where they go in and that cop's like strung up on top of the, you know, jail cell, and he looks like a moth, and it's like real, like that disturbed me as a kid. And you know, just all the stuff with Buffalo Bill, definitely not stuff you want to see when you are younger. This is actually, I think my aunt, this is one of her favorite movies ever, so she always had this on TV as well. But yeah, very good movie, all great. Buffalo Bill, he's such an interesting person. What's his name? Ted Levine. I think he is fantastic actor. That he has an iconic voice. You know, he also plays Rusty Nails on Joyride, and he played in the Hills Have Eyes remake as the dad. Candy Cane. I want to talk to Candy Cane.
I want to talk to Candy Cane.
I think you know how I can reach her. I love Joyride. My dad used to go around saying Candy Cane.
I know, it's in like your top 3 favorite horror films.
No, buddy, that was so fake. Yeah, forget about that. No, Silence of the Lambs, though, you know, classic stuff. I really want to I gotta like get this on Blu-ray or something and rewatch it one more time before the show. I feel like, because VHS definitely does not cut it. But I would definitely consider this horror.
It's definitely horror to me. Like, I understand the debate for some films, but to me, like, Silence of the Lambs is, like, I've always thought of it as horror, even when I was a kid.
And I can see why not, like, it, because it has a, like, investigative detective.
Yeah, well, it's definitely some police procedural stuff in there, but I think it's pretty dark, you know.
Yeah, like, and it's always been lumped into the horror stuff, like, not, you know, any other movie that's debated, like Seven, you don't see, like, Seven lumped in.
I don't understand why Seven's debated, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, that one
There's certain movies that are debated that I can't really see. Like, Silence of the Lambs, I could even see more than Seven, to me.
Really?
Like, Seven just feels like a straight horror movie to me. Like, it doesn't feel even close to not horror. The same thing goes with Jaws. Like, that's the one, that's the other one that is debated sometimes, and I'm like, what the heck? Of course it's a horror film.
Yeah, it's crazy, because, like, you know, growing up, I never would have thought twice, and then you grow up and see all these people debating about it, it's like, what the heck? But yeah, Silence of the Lambs, that is good stuff, and that was, you know, parts of that were filmed kind of around us, so...
You're done? That's it?
Pretty nifty. Yeah, I am done. That is all my moves.
All right, so for me, I don't have quite as many.
Yes, you suck.
And a couple of them are double watches. Like, with both me and you. What the hell?
What?
Alright, so the first thing that I watched, not movie related, is I watched the entire first season of The Wonder Years.
Dude, stop watching seasons.
My favorite show of all time, The Wonder Years. The first season is awesome, too. All 5 episodes are great. It's only 5 episodes in the first season. The very first episode, the pilot, always makes me sad. It's the one where, you know, Kevin is interested in, you know, girls all of a sudden. He kind of has a thing for his neighbor, Winnie Cooper, but he's denying it at first. He gets into some trouble in school. He's about to be in trouble, and then his family finds out that their neighbor, Brian Cooper, Winnie's brother, had died in Vietnam, and that is a very powerful moment for a pilot for me, because it's so real, you know. And the show was set in the 60s. And I'll tell you this, like, it's casted great. The narration is great. I can't believe that the narrator is, the hell's his name? Daniel Stern.
Yeah.
Marv from Home Alone. It's weird, but he does a really good job. And I just think that, like, you know, as a whole, the show is just perfect to me, because it's not traditional in terms of the outcomes of the situations, and I've always thought that ever since I was a kid. Like, whenever you see like a situation that the character is dealing with, sometimes it plays out differently than whatever like any other TV show would handle it. It would always play out like with a happy ending or something like that. And the pilot is a great episode. And then the second episode is Swingers, which is probably the least good episode on that one. It's the one about the sex book. Remember that one?
I don't know.
Yeah.
What happens?
They're getting sex education in school, and they feel like they need to know more. So they ask Kevin's brother Wayne, and he's like giving them this rundown. I feel like they didn't learn anything, so they go to get this book called Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Sex But Was Afraid to Ask. They steal it from the library, and then the mom catches them with it, and she's like, I'm not upset that you had it, but I'm upset that you would dig through my stuff. And it wasn't her book, so it was wrong. Yeah. And then the third episode is My Father's Office. And that's a great one too, because like it opens up with Kevin being a kid and the dad and stuff like that. Who the casting is absolutely phenomenal on the show. Jack is great, and the mom, Norma, is amazing as well. I think she might be the best actress in the show, the best actor in the show, honestly. Like, she kills it. But Kevin doesn't know what he wants to do with his future, asks his dad to go to work with him or whatever, and then he sees his dad is, and I was talking to you about this, when we're kids, we often think our parents are superheroes. Like, they never do anything wrong because we don't see the mistakes they make. And it's partially from being sheltered from it, but it's partially from just not having world experience to understand a mistake at the time. And there's always like a point in your life when you realize your dad or, you know, your grandfather or your mother or whatever isn't a superhero and they are flawed. And that's kind of what that episode's a little bit about. Very good. And then Angel is probably my favorite episode on the first season here, the 4th episode, where Kevin's sister is like a straight hippie, and she's like dating this other like progressive hippie guy, and Kevin doesn't like him, and there's a really good scene where he comes over for dinner and he knows that Kevin's dad, who is probably, you know, Republican, probably very reserved, traditional values and stuff like that, you know, this guy's a vegetarian and, you know, he's a hippie, and he brings up the thing, he's like, just like that crap in Vietnam or whatever, and and Kevin's dad gets really offended, and he's like, you know, that boy died for his country and stuff, and he's like, are you too chicken? You're just too chicken. And the dude's like, yeah, you're damn right, I'm chicken. He's like, look, this is my draft notice. I have 3 choices. I could go to Canada, I can go to jail, or I can go to another country and be shot full of holes like your neighbor Brian. And he's like, you know, you need to start like thinking more clearly, or it's one of these boys next, of course, talking about Jack's 2 sons. And it's just a very powerful moment, you know what I mean? It's just very powerful because it makes you think, you know. On one hand, it's I understand like fighting for your country and stuff like that, but on the other hand, it really does seem like senseless deaths. It's very complex, and it, for a show to like, you know, handle that type of stuff, to me was like really good. And then the next episode is The Phone Call, which is the 4th episode, and that is one where Kevin is like wants to ask this girl out, Lisa Berlini, which is a very sort of and I'm gonna watch more of the show and I won't break down every single episode, but I just figured since there's only 5, I love this episode because if you've ever been a kid and you had a crush on a girl, or if you had a crush on a boy, and you like, when you're first getting into phone calling, which I doubt that's even a thing now. You know, it's probably like texting or something, or like
yeah,
IMing, but when I was a kid, you know, you still called and stuff, and like building up the courage to call a girl was like, it took so much effort, and that's like what the whole episode is. It's him putting it off, and he eventually does it because he sees the space shuttle launch, and it kind of puts in perspective that like, wow, like you could kind of do anything as long as you take a chance or whatever, and that was really good. And then the final episode, Dance With Me, Kevin is going to ask Lisa Berlini to this school dance, and he wants to go with her, and she says yes, and then like a popular kid asks her out, and she's basically like, I told you yes before this guy asked me, and she basically breaks it off with him, and then he decides to ask Winnie, and she said that she would, but she's going with, what the hell was his name? I forget his name, but it was like a really annoying name. I just wanted
Chad.
No, it wasn't Chad. It was like Ben or something. But yeah, it was you know, and they kind of reconvene at the dance or whatever. It's like the first the second moment of like love between them characters. I mean, it's such a great first season for only 5 episodes. Like I love pretty much every episode in this series. And there's so much good music. I mean, Born to Be Wild is in that episode. Of course, the opening. There's just so much good music in this series. Some of the songs have been pulled from the DVD set because they couldn't clear the rights, but it's very few. Mainly the 2 notable ones are the Doors tracks. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I watched all of that season of The Wonder Years.
Cool.
Such a good show. Such a good show. I love that show, man. It's
yeah.
Like, so amazing. But whenever I watch the next season, I'll kind of just save my thoughts on the season in general. Because there's way more episodes in the next couple seasons.
Yes.
Okay, movies. Lake Mungo. I actually watched this last week and forgot to mention it. But it is a film. Actually, this is the second time I watched this year, so I probably have mentioned it on the show before. But it follows a family whose daughter winds up dead, and the mysterious nature of her death, as well as the fact that she might not be dead. Sort of found footage / mockumentary. It's pretty good, honestly. Like it's very creepy. I think some people think that it's like a lot more amazing than I do. Like I think Austin gives it like a 9 or something like that. But it's good. Have you ever seen it?
No, but I've seen a lot of people hype this one up quite a bit.
Yeah, it was actually part of the 8 Films to Die For, the 4th year. And I think it's one of the better films. It might be the best film of that season. But it's really good. It's just that, I'm not super high on it.
Yeah.
It's done really authentic, I'll say that. Then I watched Dazed and Confused, which is your blind spot, so we'll get to that in a moment.
Right.
And then I watched The Addams Family as part of my run through 91. I actually really liked it, man. It was a lot of fun. You have the Addams family who Gomez is missing his long-lost brother Fester. There's like a criminal who decides to pose as Fester because he kind of looks like him and infiltrate the Addams family to kind of get towards their wealth. It's a pretty fun movie. I like how dark it's actually pretty dark at times, and I feel like the humor isn't really nerfed that much. I mean, it's never been like R horror, but it's always been kind of dark. So I really like that about it. Very good performances all around. Everybody's really good. Who is the Christopher Lloyd plays Fester. He's very, very good as Fester. Who's the little girl?
Christina Ricci.
Yeah, Christina Ricci. Was that the girl from Monster?
Yep.
That's so weird.
She also plays Lizzie Borden on that that Lifetime movie. Then I think they made a TV show. But yeah, she's from Monster. It is crazy.
Yeah.
And Monster came out in 2003, so that's like 12 years later.
Yeah. And then I watched Thelma and Louise as part of my run through 91. Not a horror film, but it's it's got some thriller aspects to it. You ever seen Thelma and Louise?
No.
It's really good. It's a really good movie. My mom, this was her favorite movie, along with Selena when I was a kid.
Oh God, Selena.
What?
I just remember I hated my Spanish teacher. She was a bitch, and she made us all watch Selena at the end of the year. Selena is a icon. I know, but it just correlates with that Spanish class to me, and I'm like, bleh. Susan Sarandon and Gina Davis in this one basically follows two girls who decide to go out. You thought they were lesbians for some reason. I swear they are. No, I not. Promise. They decide to go out, and she's dancing with this guy, for fun, and she goes out to the parking lot, and he basically tries to have sex with her, and she's married, and she's like, no, and then he's in the process of raping her, and Thelma comes out, or is it Louise? Louise comes out and blasts dude, and then they go on a run and kill more people, and
Or do they kill more people? I don't even remember if they kill anybody else.
Maybe I thought that because I've seen people say that Monster like reminded me of that or something. Maybe.
Why?
Yes.
Who plays Monster?
No, they're just lesbians in Monster.
Oh.
Do you understand? I think that's why I thought.
Who plays that lady?
What's her? Charlize Theron.
Yeah, she's really good.
Dude,
she
so
looks just
beautiful.
like
I
her.
know.
Have you ever seen The Real Woman? What's her name?
Yeah, Eileen Warmos or whatever.
Eileen Warren or something.
It's It's like Wourmos. I don't know how to say it, but
yeah. I watched a documentary about her like last year, and yeah, she looks just like her. It's crazy. She even gets like the dialect down.
Yeah, she's like, and that like Charlize Theron's so beautiful, and she uglied herself up so good for that role.
Yeah, I want to rewatch it. I haven't seen that in a very long time.
Me either.
Since it came out, actually. But yeah, so one thing that I will say about Thelma and Louise is like, the culture of the like Me Too movement of today. I think this film is kind of interesting because like the things that they're saying are like, dude, nobody like should. I was dancing all over him, you know, like nobody will ever believe that he was like. They'll say I asked for it and stuff, and I'm like, wow, like it's still relevant.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but yeah, but even like more so back then, it seemed even more believable. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, after that, as part of my run through 91, I watched The Sect. Michele Soave's The Sect, his fourth and final horror film, of course, most known for his movie Stage Fright, as well as The Church, which is kind of considered Demons 3, and of course his best film, Cemetery Man.
Yes.
The Sect is a really awesome movie. It has that song at the beginning that's like, I roam through the desert with a horse with no name.
Yes.
Yeah. Starring Kelly Curtis, Jamie Lee's more attractive sister, in my opinion. It's an interesting movie. It's very weird because you're like, this is bizarre. It feels very Italian. I mean, it is an Italian film, but it feels like it feels like Phenomena, where it's like Italian but like Americanized a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think it takes place in Germany though. It follows a girl who picks up a homeless guy, takes him back to her house. The homeless guy like finds a secret passage under his house, and there's like cult stuff. There's a really creepy scene where a pelican pecks her neck out.
Ooh.
In like a dream sequence thing. It runs 2 hours. It's a little bit long, but I've seen it twice, and I liked it more this time. There's just something about it that I enjoy. It's a really good movie. I dig it.
It's not like the only movie she ever played into.
Probably.
It's weird. That's weird that of all things would be her only film.
Yeah.
But anyway, go on.
As part of my run through 91, number 37 here, Doll Man. I started watching this a while back, but I didn't finish it, so I restarted it. It's pretty short. Basically a dude gets sent to Earth, but he's like an intergalactic crime fighter type cop deal thing, and he goes to, I think it's New York or Chicago, one of the cities, where it's like overrun with like drug dealers and thugs, and he befriends this Spanish chick who's trying to clean up the streets, but the only thing is he's 12 inches tall.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's funny how they shoot it, because like they'll make it look like he's small, but they're just shooting a regular actor. It doesn't really work, but it's kind of fun. It's it's Full Moon, whatever. It's pretty solid. It's not as good as the other Full Moon films, in my opinion, but it's not bad.
Yeah, I sing a song real quick.
Yeah.
Intergalactic.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, I'm sorry, I dropped the ball. Do you know what song that was trying to be?
Was that Beastie Boys?
Yeah, but I completely lost the beat. Because you said intergalactic and it got stuck in my head that whole entire time you were talking.
Yeah. Then I watched Ragin, Cajun, Redneck, Gators, also known as Alligator Alley.
Shut up.
What?
It's not also known as something.
Yeah.
This movie doesn't deserve to be also known as something.
I told a story that I had a bunch of movies DVR'd from one, like, we're going to do a Shark Week this year in August. But back when, like, Sci-Fi always does, like, a Shark Week, especially when the Sharknadoes were, like, super popular. And they'll do all their bad shark movies, like, over a weekend or something like that. And I recorded them one day. Like, a bunch of them, like, I don't know, like 20 or so of them. And I was like, if I ever need to watch these... Because we planned on doing a Shark Week on 22 Shots before. I was like, I have all these movies that I could watch. And honestly, like, I have a love-hate relationship with the Sci-Fi Channel because when I was growing up, a lot of my early horror memories came from the Sci-Fi Channel. They used to play, like, a lot of old-school horror films, like, of course, you know, like Wishmaster, a lot of stuff from the 90s and stuff. But they also made, like, really okay originals, too, that I really liked. Like their Python and Boa and, you know, some snake movies and some insect movies and stuff. And they always tried, you know, they were bad movies, but they tried to make them good. And then all of a sudden they realized that people really like them because they're bad. So like, why don't we just try to make them bad? And they started making all these horrible, like, giant sharktopuses and stuff like that. And they just got so, like, annoying, and I stopped watching. But I used to watch, like, all their new, like, Snakehead Terror and stuff. Like, I used to watch a lot of their new, like, sci-fi movies, the originals. And this one was actually not bad, man. I actually kind of enjoyed it. It follows, like, these gator hunters and stuff in this small town, and there's a gator problem with, like, they have, like, blue tongues and they have, like, spiky tails, and the kind of twist with it is when they bite someone, they start turning into an alligator.
Ew, that...
The CGI is a little, you know, what you'd expect. It's rough, but there's some spots where it's not so rough too. I really liked it. I give it a 4 out of 10, but I really liked it. It was much better than I expected. Then of course I watched Aquaslash, which we'll get to in a moment.
Yeah.
And the rest of the stuff I watched was with you, so.
Okay.
So, first up, we watched Detroit Rock City as my 300th film for the year.
Geez, you're like 50 films ahead of me.
Nice. Well, I'm at 302 now.
I think I'm at like 254 or 56, somewhere around there.
Detroit Rock City, I don't know, I was just in the mood for it. And I was over your house and we were going to watch Subspecies, and I was like, dude, we should watch a comedy instead. And we popped in Detroit Rock City, and you were very against it, and you hated it.
No, I did. First of all, that's not even how that went. We got home, well, we were sitting there, and you're like, I'm gonna get a move real quick. And you didn't tell me what it was. And then you're like, okay, just put the flash drive in the playhair. And I was like, I don't want to. And you were like, I will give you a smacking if you don't. And I was like, oh, please don't. And then you were like, just put it in the playhair. And then I put it in the playhair, and Detroit Rock City came up, and I was like, oh my god, no! I've always thought this movie was so stupid looking. And we watched it, and I liked it.
Loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun. I don't know, dude. I just thought Detroit Rock City, it always sounded so stupid, like I don't even know what I thought it was. I thought it was just gonna be like a Kiss centered movie that was just actually about the band Kiss, and I didn't realize it was kind of like an adventure with buddies, and it was, you know, these 4 kids. It reminds me, these are the types of movies I like. It's like, reminds me like Harold and Kumar or something, where you just have a bunch of idiots and their adventure completely goes awry, and they end up in all these stupid situations, and they just have the worst luck ever. Yeah, I thought this was very funny. I even, like, afterwards I asked my mother if she had ever seen this, and I was like, I gotta show you it one day. It is funny. But,
yeah, no, it is. I've always really liked it. I mentioned that in my Facebook review that I watched it countless times in my friends' basements. And like, yeah, we used to quote it, watch it all the time. It was such a good, fun movie. And actually, a lot of people my age was a huge fan of it too. Like, and it's funny because it felt older when I was a kid, but it was only like 10 years old when I was watching it, or it was less than 10 years old, you know, like 2006 and stuff. But it felt older, probably because it's set in the 70s, I guess.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought Lin Shaye was great in her role as the psychotic mother, and I liked all the kids. I just like these groups of friends too, where they're clearly all very good friends and they'll do anything for their homies. Like, bust them out.
You got Jam, you got Bert. His name's not Bert. Trip. His name's Trip. But he plays Bert in Cabin Fever, and then of course Giuseppe, who plays Winston in Cabin Fever. And yeah, it's really fun and funny. It's ridiculous. It's over the top, like not realistic at all, but really fun. But one of your favorite parts was when they were all hyped going in the elevator to get their tickets, and then when they were coming back down, it was just like, if you like pina colada. One Edward Furlong like comes at the guy all pissed off. Yeah, I just love, they're all hyping the thing, and he's like, which one of you is Trip? And he's like, oh, that's me, I'm the one who called in. Then they analyze the footage, and they're like calling him an idiot. He's like, what kind of idiot would hang up on free Kiss tickets? You gotta be a complete moron. Dude, yeah, it's a great movie. And, you know, it has that, like, spirit of friendship thing going for it. I've always been a big fan of, like, that Harold and Kumar, like, adventure so big against the odds type thing. So yeah, glad you liked it.
Yeah,
I was actually, after we picked our blind spots, that was one that I thought about afterwards. I was like, damn it, I wish I would have gave you that. So it's like a bonus blind spot. Because
I honestly would have never chosen to watch that in my life.
Right.
If not.
Yeah. So then we watched The Lost Boys and Evil Dead at the drive-in, and of course both very well-known classic horror films. I'll say this, it as much as I wanted to love the experience, it was hard because it was so hot. It really was.
Yeah, it's and ironically, we always kind of complain that it's too cold when we go to the drive-in, because for a while there we only went in like September and April for our big events, and we'd be miserably freezing if we sat outside and in the car and everything. And then this time it was way too hot. There was kind of a breeze, but not enough to suffice, and it was one of those nights where it did not cool down in the night. It was still like 80 degrees at 1 a.m. so it was definitely rough.
I was like, my back was so sweaty, and like my ass was like gross feeling and sweaty.
Yeah, like I was just getting claustrophobic in the car too. Like when I'm hot, it just makes it 10 times worse. So it definitely wasn't a great experience, and that's what sucks about drive-ins is, like, it's not like a theater where you're guaranteed to have air or heat blowing on you, obviously.
Yeah, it's like, in a theater, you're never really going to be too cold or too hot. It's like regulated temperature. Like, outside in the elements, it's like, could be too cold, too hot, too rainy, too, you know, snowy, maybe. I mean, it snows in April sometimes. But I enjoyed The Lost Boys a little bit more. I think because it came on first, because, you know, by the second movie we're kind of miserable feeling.
I was gonna say, like, I was actually kind of bummed. I wish they would have played The Evil Dead first, since we already saw The Lost Boys in the drive-in, but I enjoyed. It's a great movie, so I'm not complaining about that. I'm just upset because Evil Dead is also a really good movie, and it was a first-time watch for us, so it would have been nice to, like,
first time watching the drive-in.
Yeah, so it would have been cool to see that one first when we were not as annoyed. But
I love The Lost Boys though, man. I just love how, like, I love everything about it. It's almost a 10 for me. And
yeah, it's fun.
like, I just love the setting. I love the story. I love the characters. I love the visuals, the soundtrack. It's just perfect. It does everything right as a horror film.
Yeah, it's a perfect one. That's one you could definitely like show a little kid and have them fall in love with it at a young age, I feel. I didn't grow up with The Lost Boys, but it's grown on me. Yeah, it's grown on me the past few years. And I love it's a horror comedy, and I think all the comedy aspects are really solid throughout. It's
Really? I never noticed it was a horror comedy.
It's a horror comedy, buddy.
No, dude, definitely not.
Yeah, it is. It's like
not...
it's a horror. It's listed as a horror comedy, and it's supposed to be funny. Like,
where?
The Frog Brothers, the dumb shit they say, like, that's like comical the way they talk sometimes.
Yeah,
but they're experts.
But they don't know that.
Dude, the grandpa.
Yeah, the grandpa has like comedic levity.
Yeah, dude, no. Okay, this is a serious movie. You think it's a serious movie?
Yes, I've always considered it a serious movie.
No, I'm trying to give an example. Don't interrupt. I'm saying you think it's serious at the end, like this is a real serious movie, and the last line of the film is, "Yeah, it's the thing about Santa Carla, all the damn vampires." Yeah, that's so serious.
It is. He's being serious. He really means that's the problem with it.
Dude, that's fun. Like, it's a funny thing.
It's funny to like us, but it's not like I refuse to believe that The Lost Boys is a horror comedy.
Do you have no sense of like this is actually a horror like it's not a debate.
I've never found it like I find moments funny, but it's not. The Lost Boys is a
1987 American teen horror comedy film.
It's not.
And then on IMDb it has horror/comedy.
Just because there's funny, like, okay, whenever David gives Michael the Chinese food and it's maggots, like, yeah, that's like funny to us, but it's like not supposed to. It's like not a. It's like funny that happened, but it's not a horror fucking comedy.
Dude, that's a dumb argument. Dude, and comedies, okay, like in Detroit Rock City, are they laughing after every joke they make to like show you it's a comedy?
No,
what are you trying to say?
Dude, I'm telling you, this is not like I refuse to label this as a damn horror comedy. That's crazy.
Okay, you could. Okay, dude. Okay.
No way.
It is what it is.
It's the same way with Return of the Living Dead. Like, I don't think that's a horror comedy either. I just think there's funny things in it.
It's meant to be lighthearted at times, though. Like, The Exorcist isn't a horror comedy. You know? No, yeah, like, it's like the lighthearted little quirks of humor. There's more in it. Like, do you think House is a horror comedy?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
But you don't think Return of the Living Dead is?
I think Return of the Living Dead is, like...
Dude, I think House is scarier than Return of the Living Dead.
Honestly, I don't think that's really one either. Like, there's some funny moments in it, but I don't know, like, to me, like, a horror comedy is like Zombieland, Shaun of the Dead. Like...
Those are, like, parody, like, self-aware, meta-y comedies. Those are, like, pure satirical... Like, a horror comedy, to me, is... There's a difference between, like you said, Shaun of the Dead, that's meant to be a parody satire on all the zombie movies that came out, and that's, like, actually that's, like, the joke. And then there's movies that are, like, horror, and then they taper in actual comedy.
Deathgasm, What We Do in the Shadows.
What We Do in the Shadows, that's clearly a satire on, like, vampire films.
The Dead Don't Die.
A satire on zombie films.
The Babysitter.
I didn't like that movie. I barely remember it, but I think it was stupid. What are you trying to prove right now?
Final Girls.
That's like meta crap. Like, wait, well, so you don't think any, like,
Army of Darkness. Evil Dead 2. Like, those are horror comedies.
Why are you naming these?
These are horror comedies to me.
Okay, yeah, Evil Dead 2 is a horror comedy. That's a good example.
Like, there's, like, okay, is Scream a horror comedy?
No.
Okay, but like there's funny stuff in it, and we laugh at Stu and Randy. Like, didn't you put his liver in the mailbox?
Yeah, but they're like, it's different, dude.
That's how the Lost Boys is.
No, dude, you're wrong.
No.
Wrong.
Night of the Creeps, horror comedy.
Dude, okay, like the dinner scene in The Lost Boys, like where they're trying to prove he's a vampire and they're spilling garlic all over him and like showing him the beer in his face. Yeah, it's funny to us,
but it's not supposed to. It's not like it's funny because they're wrong and they're just like the situation's funny. It's not like fuck. I hate horror comedies, dude.
And Scream, like, yeah, Stu's like liver alert, like, yeah, okay, that's a minor. That's him just like busting balls with his buddies. Like, that's
it's just them busting balls on that guy.
But they're not
putting
like
garlic on him.
No, dude, like Stu's not there with a pile of garlic dumping it on. You know what I mean? It's like
not
goofy comedy. Like this is goofier comedy.
Is It a horror comedy?
The original It?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, well, there's all kind of funny stuff in that.
Is there?
Yeah, like when Pennywise is all like, like making all that noise on top of the thing.
That's not meant to be funny. Nothing he does. He's a clown. Clowns are like funny but creepy. Like that's their thing. Like that's not a horror. That was dumb, dude.
Okay, is Friday the 13th Part 6 a horror comedy?
No.
Okay, well, I rest my case. I am right, you are wrong. Let's move on.
No, I don't even think there was an argument. I think you just named a bunch of movies and, like, confused me or something. I don't think anything happened there just now.
No, I'm right.
We will allow the audience to decide.
All right. So, then we watched The Evil Dead, which is my favorite Evil Dead, the very first one. Evil Dead it really is such a great horror film, which Evil Dead and Sam Raimi are kind of known for their horror comedies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this movie's super creepy. I mean, the effects on the characters when they're all demonized is scary as heck.
You know what I noticed watching it this time at the drive-in?
What?
How damn loud the movie is.
Yeah.
It's just non-stop noise.
It's like laughing and screaming and giggling. It's just crazy. And then even like outside with the, I guess, spirit running towards you, it seems like loud music's playing then. Just the whole thing. Yeah, you are correct with that.
It's just so loud. Like, everybody's making noise and screaming and just like all these noises.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. But I love it. I love it in a way, man. Evil Dead is a great horror film.
Yeah, and I've only seen Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness once, and I never even really cared. Maybe Evil Dead 2, but I really don't ever feel like rewatching those two, honestly.
See, I really do love Evil Dead 2 as well, but in comparison to the first one, I love the first one more.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I almost hate how, when you think of Evil Dead, like, I feel like people think of the funny aspects, but the first movie's actually a really good horror film. But Evil Dead's never been one of my favorites, though, either. It's not one that I dive on, but I think it's a really solid film. I rate it pretty high, because it's a scary movie. It's a cabin in the woods type of movie, and not a super high budget or anything like that. It's just kind of there, but they did a great job with everything, and it's simple, but very effective, and it still holds up with the creepiness.
Yeah, super creepy. All right, so yeah, let's move on here to your blind spot.
Oh yes, so my blind spot was Dazed and Confused from 1993, I believe.
And yes. You are right. I need to stop talking to you about the movies before we record, because I feel like we reviewed the entire movie in our phone call.
I know, he calls and harasses me. He's like, "What did you think?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And he's like, "How did you think?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And you're like, "Where did you think?"
Shut up.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, Dazed and Confused.
Which you did not want to watch.
I did not. I always thought this movie, kind of like Detroit Rock City. I always thought it looked stupid, and or sounded stupid, Dazed and Confused. I thought it was just like a stoner type of movie, and it's mainly because anytime people talk about it, it's always just that Matthew McConaughey scenes. That's all I know about this. That's literally the only thing I know.
You thought the whole movie was going to be Matthew McConaughey standing outside of a bar, like, picking up girls.
I literally did. Yeah, I did, dude. Like, people always think, like, oh my god, that's so great, but they actually ruin the film, like, perception for me, because I'm thinking that's what it's gonna be, and to me that's not that fun. It's like completely overdone. For one thing, any part he was in, I'm like, okay, I've seen this scene like referenced a million times, to where it's kind of like when you see a trailer a million times, you already know the lines word for word. But yeah, the movie's obviously not about that at all. There's not really it's kind of just a plot of a bunch of teenagers on the last day of school looking to party, and there's supposed to be a big party, but it gets canceled due to the parents finding out about it. So then most of the film is them kind of driving around or just hanging out on the streets or something, drinking beer, and kind of, you know, looking for a final destination or not. And their main goal is just to like get drunk and hang out and smoke weed and stuff like that. So, and there's not really a main character. You can kind of argue, like, the younger Mitch kid, he's kind of one of the main ones, and then you have those two, I think, football players. They're kind of like the main people that you're following a lot of the time, but for the most part, it's car to car and event to event, showing all these people, and I really dug it. It just made me want to like go out and have a fun time myself, and I think it's made in '93, and I think they capture the whole aesthetic. I think it's supposed to be like the summer of '79 perhaps, or something. It's like the late '70s that this is taking place, and I think they capture that very well, that whole vibe. It actually feels like an '80s movie or late '70s movie to me. And I told you, it kind of reminds me of something like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, where it's just you're following people's lives through high school or through
this is much better
events.
Than that movie, but I get what you're saying.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High is one of my favorite like 80s teen
I've
comedies.
always thought it was a little overrated, personally.
Oh, I loved it growing up. I thought it was so funny. Him ordering that pizza in class. It was great. It's so funny. They're like
it's not that funny.
I love it. You have to watch it again, I think. I swear. But, yeah, I dug this movie, and I would definitely watch it again. And it's got an amazing soundtrack as well.
Sweet emotion.
And then when the party ends at the end of the day and Tuesday is Gone by Leonard Skinner plays, I'm like, that's actually really sad.
Yeah. Yeah, I love so much stuff about this one, because it really did, like, it feels bigger than any, like, single night I've had in my, you know, teen partying years, obviously, because it's a movie, but it still captures different aspects of nights. It's like it takes, all the highlights of your, like, year of, you know, your childhood of drinking and partying and going to parties and hanging out with friends and stuff, and it, you know, stretches it into one night. Like, it just... That's what it feels like to me, but there's so much aspects of this that is relatable to me, like the Mitch kid, like, hanging out with, like, the older kids, because, you know, that was kind of me at a time too. I used to, like, I was the older kid at one point that had a bunch of younger friends who, like, hung out with me, but then at one point I was the young, like, 9th grader who was hanging out with, like, seniors.
Yeah.
And it was because one of my best friends, his brother was a senior and was, you know, part of, like, the party crew, you know, he actually had most of the parties at his house. So I was always, like, invited by proxy. And, you know, eventually I actually became just friends with all those guys too. But at first I was just, like, cool to tag along. And, you know, that you know, pressure. And then you have, like, the other kid who's, like, just like is a loser, like those three, like, loser kids, but there's the one that, like, really, like, is, like, annoyed that he's a loser and just wants to experience life a little bit. He's the one that gets into the fight.
That part's really funny.
Yeah. And I told you the story of, like, I knew a guy who, like, was got bullied by like this older kid when we were kids, and like all these adults would just be like, go up to him and punch him one good time and he'll leave you alone forever. And he did, and then he got his ass whooped. But yeah, there's just so much to like about this movie. So many good iconic lines. You know, you'd be a lot cooler if you did. You know, I don't have a good Matthew McConaughey, but
yes, they do.
I love the like the hazing, which was really big in like the early days. I told you we had a little bit of that, but yeah, traditions and stuff like that. I just like the simpler time too, right? There's no cell phones. Nobody's calling each other. They're just, you know, seeing each other like, oh, maybe I'll see you later, you know, or like they're at a hamburger spot and then they're at this pool place and then they're, you know, driving around and there's this one's going with that one and this one's like they're intermingling, you know. It just feels fun. It just feels like a very vibrant, alive teen life in that town. And I've always kind of wanted that. And we had it a little bit when I was in high school. Like, I really did. I am fortunate because I got to experience a lot of stuff. Like, I remember, like, nights where, like, my friend Andy and my friend Justin, they were older. They would come pick us up, and then we would go to, like, separate parties and then go to a meet up at a third party or something. It was just, like, really fun. And, like, we would be at a party and like we'd be like, we're about to get out of here, and then somebody would be like, oh, where are you going? We're going over here. It's like, oh, can I ride with you guys or whatever? And it did have that feeling. But we had a lot of good, you know, partying times in my high school. Like, I think I'm very fortunate because I thought that was just normal, but then I've talked to like you and a lot of other people that I didn't go to my high school, and they didn't really have the same experience. Even a couple of classes under me didn't really have the same experience. So I feel very fortunate that I had a lot of fun in my teen years. But yeah, I give it a 10.
Yeah. So basically, you're saying my teen years sucked.
You said that, buddy, not me.
I did, yes. No, I do. One more last thing. It's like I watch these movies and I get envious of. I wish I grew up in a time without like the cell phones and all that, and just because it was just all about hanging out. This movie reminds me of stories my mom would tell me about her being in high school. So you know, it's like very much real, where you just drove around and like drank and just had like beers in your back seat, and
we did that.
Oh well,
like even in the, you know, mid 2000s, late 2000s, like we did drive around drinking, which was not smart, obviously, but you know, we did. Like we even got pulled over before, and the cops let us go. And we got pulled over and they didn't let us go. And I got an underage drinking charge. Yeah. I almost had 2. I almost had 3, really. But yeah, so, you know, I think that it's very realistic, you know, how they play that, especially with the 70s. But that stuff did die down a lot when, you know, I was in high school too. But like, I did get to experience the non-cell phone life too, because I got a cell phone when I was in 9th grade. Like my first like real cell phone. Like I had like track phones and stuff that I would just use all the minutes in like 2 days and then never use again.
Yeah.
But like I had like a bill phone, and I had it for like a year, and I lost it at a party, and then it was basically, it was a chocolate. You remember those?
Yeah, those were huge. Those were like the thing to have back in like
right, yeah,
middle school for me.
Yeah, it was a pretty good phone. It was like the second version. And I lost it, and then I didn't get another one. Eventually I didn't get a phone, and then I got another cell phone when I was in like 12th grade. But I didn't have a phone through like most of high school. And in fact, there was one of my friends, like my core 5 friends, who actually had a cell phone. Like, we didn't really do a lot of like cell phoning, but like other kids did have them more. But like, just for whatever reason, none of us really did.
Yeah, see, now it's like you can't just be that one guy without a cell phone, because then you're just not included in anything nowadays.
Right, yeah.
Because no one's going to call you up because they're like, oh, that guy doesn't have a phone. But yeah, I actually gave this a 10 as well.
Oh, really?
I did, yes.
So you gave that a 10. You
Yes.
gave Speed a 9.
I gave that an 8.5.
An 8.5.
Yes.
I'm in the lead by a lot.
No, that's not what, I don't think that's how we're playing this game.
Yeah.
Alright, Tor, are we picking your move?
Yes. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
All right. 13 left. I'm going to randomize now for my next week's blind spot.
Mm-hmm.
And it is The Room.
Yeah.
2003. Damn it.
Buddy, I need it's so funny.
Oh, I just feel like there's like 4 funny scenes and the rest is downtime.
The entire movie is funny. It's the worst movie ever made, dude. It's so funny.
All right. So that is my blind spot. Let's move into our featured review and get out of here. So it is Aquaslash.
Yes, aka Aquaslash. But
Yeah.
appropriately named Aquaslash because that does rhyme with trash, which is what this movie is.
So go ahead and give the synopsis.
Okay, well, the synopsis is thrills, chills, and screwball comedy meets tiny bikinis and gore dismemberment in this chlorine and blood-drenched murder mystery. So that's not at all a synopsis. But what this movie, it's about like a bunch of kids they're the class of 2018.
It feels like it's a summer camp movie, but it's set at a water park.
Yeah, they just graduated, I believe, and they're celebrating by like staying at this water park. And there's also this band that's gonna be performing at the water park. They're like the band was a throwback 80s band. So this movie's set in the present, but like the band was like, yeah, we're like an 80s band called the Blades.
Wait, I think I might use my skip on The Room.
Why?
Because I don't want to watch it.
Dude, what are you doing? We're past that portion of our show, dude. You can't. That's unprofessional. We're not going back. You can't skip bees now.
Damn it.
No skippy dippies.
Why can't I get ET instead?
I forgot I put ET on there. What, you want ET?
Seems better
Dude,
than My Cousin Trashy and The Polar X Trash and The Wedding Trasher and My Trash Sister and Monty Trash Thon and The Holy Trash and The Crying Trash and Blood Trash and The Hand That Rocks the Trash and Taxi Trash.
Oh my god, dude. Was that the whole list? Are you done? Are you done?
The Boy in the Striped Trash.
Okay, so you want
Panic
to skip
Trash.
You want to skip them all, is what I'm hearing.
Most of them.
Okay, dude, this was hard. Okay, I had to go by movies that Andrew Schmoyer happens to like my list better than yours.
What? Well, that makes sense actually. It's Andrew Schmoyer.
I said that too, but I respect it. Thank you, Andrew.
When did he see our lists?
Austin said that they listened to our last episode the other day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but anyway, you're not skipping. I am sorry. Anyway, back to Aquaslash. What were we saying?
Trash.
It's yeah. Okay. Yes. Aquaslash. Yeah. Okay. So there's. I don't know, they're just at this place, and then there's like a bunch of different characters, and there's like a bunch of drama going on between all the characters, but you don't really remember whose drama is what drama, and why so-and-so is divorcing so-and-so, and why so-and-so is cheating on so-and-so, because there's too many characters, and there's no real character development between any of them. That's kind of the plot up until the end.
Dude, this movie sucked. It what I said on my Facebook thing is I said it takes a concept for a good kill in a slasher movie and it expounds upon it into an entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
Really, we're there for one reason, and that's to see people put knives or blades in the slide tunnels of a water slide.
Yeah, and you're waiting for that the entire film. They even keep showing, like, once the blades are in there, they keep showing, like, dun dun dun. They have, like, the water going down the side. Like, wait, it's coming, guys. It's coming. Just keep watching. You just gotta watch till the end, I swear. And
Like,
it's only an hour and 11 minutes, but it's like a painful hour and 11 minutes.
I wanted it to be like that, be like 30 minutes of the movie is like people getting jacked in water slides.
That's what I thought it was going to be.
Right. And honestly, like, the plot is like so paper thin and boring, and I don't even remember who the killer is. Do you?
No. What? Oh, this is the anniversary of a killing that happened like 35 years ago.
Yeah, because I remember the one guy being like, it's the anniversary. And I said, I bet that guy's the killer. Was he the killer? Don't spoil.
I can't spoil because I actually don't even remember either who the killer ends up being.
Oh, really?
Yeah, legit, I don't know. I don't even think... the guy you're talking about, I'm pretty sure that's not him.
Oh, yeah, he gets fucked up.
Yeah, unless he was the killer and he gets fucked up in his own thing. No, but
you can't say
he
two
wasn't.
F words.
Did I say 2?
No, I said 1 and then you said a second.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you said like 20 in the last F and I just let it slide. But
no, but like, dude, I couldn't pay attention to who was who. I'm like, wait, which one was that again? Like, what? There's some boobs in there, which are nice. There's some nice butts in there, some bikinis, but even that is like a little underwhelming. And yeah, and then it all leads up to like one kill, and it was good. I enjoyed it. That part was really fun.
Yeah, it was great. It was funny. It was ridiculous. It was bloody. There's just like so much blood.
It actually looked all right. There's some CG with it, but it looked all right.
Yeah, much better than I thought it would.
Yeah. And the one thing that was, like, I pointed out, it was so stupid. So they stick the blades in, they crisscross them, like, one end, and then they pull back a little bit, and then the other end, because obviously you couldn't put 2 blades through each other. But when they're showing the blades, they're 2 blades through each other. Mm-hmm. Makes no sense. Complete fail.
Yeah.
I mean, aesthetically, it's more pleasing, but it just doesn't make sense, plot-wise.
I thought this movie, I thought it was going to be someone, like, put knives all through every water slide, and the whole movie was going to be people going down water slides that had, like, knives and razor blades and needles in them or something. That's
what we were all hoping for.
It is, but that is not what we got. I can't recommend this movie. I can recommend the final scene, that final act, though, because it is priceless. So...
yeah, I don't really have much to say about this one. I thought it was pretty garbage. I gave it a 3.5 out of 10.
I was a little less generous. I just gave it a 3.
Wow.
It's just like it's hard because that last part's entertaining, but to me there's no plot.
It's
there was
not
nothing.
Even that last part. It's like one part towards the end.
yeah, because then it even kind of ends boringly where it doesn't end on that part. But yeah, 3 out of 10 for me. Not that good. Not good at all. Actually, sucks.
Yeah, trash.
Aqua trash.
Alright, so we don't know what we're going to do next week yet, but...
except for our Letterboxd reviews!
Oh, yeah, you're right. We do that before our ratings, buddy. You gotta
I forgot because you always forget until after the ratings, so now I think it goes after the ratings.
Okay, well, we're very unprofessional. You need to step it up.
I do not. I reminded you before the show about this.
Alright, this one's from Karen Wren. Karen Wren, this is the positive review. Give me a minute here. Karen Wren, her favorite films are Mr. Nobody, Handmaiden, Spirited Away, and Mulholland Drive. She recently reviewed Donnie Darko, The Beach House, Hellraiser 2. She gave them all favorable reviews. This one says, join these high school grads at their celebratory party in the water park. The film takes its time with setting up the relationships, showing us who's on whose side, and casting suspicion on various characters as to who may be guilty of the expected bloodbath to come. It was intentionally made bad in an 80s style that the crowd just had to laugh. The climactic scenes are really top-notch and will definitely make anyone react strongly, whether it's cringing, screaming, or laughing. 4 stars out of 5.
Ooh.
Yeah. Not sure I agree with that, but, to each their own.
Yes.
Harrison Cuthbertson is giving us our negative review, and his favorite films are Rear Window, Mad Max Fury Road, The Manchurian Candidate, and Agrabah, The Wrath of God. Recently reviewed The Vast of the Night with a 5-star, Aquaslash, Return of Jafar with a 1.5 star, and The Descent Part 2 with a 2.5 star. So Aquaslash, he says, Aquaslash tries to be a throwback to gory days of 1980s slasher flicks, but it's such a monumental failure in just about every regard that it doesn't even measure up to the worst the genre has to offer. It's sold as a pretty simple premise. What if someone put saw blades in a slide of a water park? Obviously, this doesn't really work as the main plot or way to kill the teens scattered throughout your movie, but as a big bloody final, I can see it working. Plus, it's a good way to get people talking. If there are more first-person kills a la Friday the 13th to keep the audience preoccupied until the big final, maybe this could have worked. Well, worked is maybe the wrong word here. It probably would be downright awful, but more entertaining at least. Oh, and if anyone tells you the movie is worth it for the last 20 minutes, aka Carly, I'd maybe temper my expectations. Where are you? Most of the people wading through bloody water in slow motion. That did happen at the end. Yeah. That was a pretty perfect review.
Yeah.
I agree with everything he said. If there had been a slasher element before the big bloody final where people were getting picked off here and there, it would have worked much better. Maybe worked is the wrong word, but it definitely would have been more entertaining. I 100% agree with that statement. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yes.
Yeah, so those are, and he gave that a 0.5 star.
Nice.
So yeah, that is it for the show. Kind of a little longer one, over 2 hours on this baby.
Ooh.
We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening. Peace out.
Peace.
On.
Hello?
Why have you forsaken me? Why have you forsaken me? Do I sound like Serge Dakaya?
No, dude. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can.
So it is fixed.
Well, usually I could hear you okay at the beginning.
No, it is fixed.
Why have you forsaken...
Oh, wake up! Wake up! Go brush your hair, put on a little makeup. Why'd you leave the keys up on the table? You wanted to. Here you go.
You wanted to. You wanted to.
Did you ever see the karaoke of those two, like 40-year-olds doing karaoke to the song? It's like horrible. It's so funny.
No.
They do karaoke videos on YouTube. Their name was like Bob and Deb or something like that.
No,
but anyway.
I seen the music video where it's like, wake up!
Brush your hair, put on a little makeup. Why'd you leave the kids up on the table?
The kids?
I always thought it was the kids.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, how would they get down? That is something that you would ask. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, and it's like, you wanted to, because you're a shitty parent. I always thought, that's why I always pictured like a scumbag mom with like a cigarette in her hand, just leave. My
self-righteous suicide.
The most loneliest day of my life. That's my favorite one.
Which one's that?
The loneliest day. He's like, such a lonely day. Should be banned. It's a day that I can't stand.
What's the one that's like, with the tablecloth?
La
la la la la la la.
Everybody's going to the party hat. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Everybody's going to sing it.
Party, have a real good time. Dun, 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 dun. Smoking up the sunshine. Something about the sunshine.
Wake up.
Put a little makeup. Here you go, creating.
La,
What
la,
does he
la,
say?
la, 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 la.
That's why he's like. La, 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 la. What about? Wait, which one's Chop Suey?
That's the one that's like, trust in my self-righteous suicide.
Oh, yeah. That was always.
Angels deserve to die.
Walk on.
Father.
Yeah.